In this next example, example number 3, we now have 2 quadrilaterals. So instead of triangles, we have quadrilaterals, and we want to know if we can use the properties of similarity to determine whether the figures are similar or not. And so we have angle A. The angle measure of A corresponds to the angle measure of, there's one tick mark here, I'm finding one tick mark at Y. And those little tick marks tell us that those things are congruent. So we would say, yes, those are congruent. Then we've got the angle B, and we want to know, does angle B correspond to another angle? Angle B has 2 tick marks. And so 2 tick marks is at angle Z. So those 2 things are congruent, yes. Angle C has 3 of those little tick marks. And so does angle W. So angle C corresponds to angle W, and because they both have three tick marks, they're congruent. And angle D has 4 of those little tick marks, as does angle X. So D corresponds to X, and they're congruent because they both have those 4 tick marks. If all the corresponding angles are congruent, which we just found out that they are, then identify corresponding sides. Label with a line over top. If the angles are not congruent, then stop. You don't need to keep going. These are all congruent angles, so now let's look at our side lengths. We have side length AB, I'm going to start with. 1 to 2 corresponds to 1 to 2 here, Y to Z. So with letters, I have AB over YZ. Their side lengths with numbers is 15 over 5. Next we have BC. Side BC corresponds to 2 to 3. I'm going to find 2 tick marks to 3 tick marks. That would be Z to W. Side ZW. So I have BC over ZW. And with numbers, BC is 22 and 8/10. And ZW is 7 6/10. I also have CD. Side CD has 3 tick marks to 4 tick marks, so 3 to 4 would be WX. So side CD corresponds to side WX. With letters, I'm just putting CD over WX. Their ratio with numbers, CD is 45 over WX is 15. So 45 over 15. And then the last side is DA. Side DA corresponds to XY, 4 tick marks to 1, 4 tick marks to 1. So XY is my other side. I write my fraction or my ratio DA over XY. And then I'm looking at my sides. DA is 24, and XY is 8, 24 over 8. So here are all my ratios, or here are all of my numbers. What I want to know is, are these equal? Is 15 over 5 equal to 22 and 8/10 over 7 6/10? Is that equal to 45 over 15? And is that equal to 24 over 8? And I recognize 15 divided by 5 is 3. I don't recognize 22 and 8/10 divided by 7 6. So I'm going to use my calculator. That's also 3. 45 divided by 15 is 3, and 24 divided by 8 is 3. So 3 is all equal. Are the ratios equivalent? Yes, those are proportional. They're equivalent. And so when we write our similarity statement, in this case, we are saying that we don't need a little triangle mark or a little quadrilateral mark. We can just, once it gets more than a triangle, we can just put A, B, C, D is similar to, we put our little squiggly mark. And then again, we want to go in the same order of corresponding angles. So A, B, C, D is similar to Y, Z, W, X. So you can see that they don't always go in alphabetical order, and it's really important that we get the order correct. So write a sentence to explain our answer. Yes, ABCD is similar to YZWX because corresponding sides are congruent, and corresponding corresponding angles are congruent and corresponding sides are proportional. So I just want to stress the importance again of knowing that definition. Similar figures have corresponding angles that are congruent and corresponding sides that are proportional. And when both of those things happen, then we know we have a similar figure. If one of those things is not true, then we do not have a similar figure. And it's really important that we understand the difference between those two.